Hey guys, I'm on board Leukothea this morning. I'm getting ready to begin our mast refit. It's a little bit windy this morning, but it's supposed to get much more windy this afternoon. Fortunately, the mast is already down. Sorry I didn't get any video of that. It was a little bit hectic. And we had some time constraints to worry about, so didn't get video or photos, unfortunately. I will try to be better about that when we go to put the mast back up. Let's show you around a little bit. It is a complete disaster, and anybody that's ever done any real amount of boat work knows that when you start boat work, the boat's no longer fit to be called a boat. It is a disaster zone. So I'll show you around here just a little bit. So, alright, so I'm sitting in the salon area. Show you around. So that is the boom right there, and we left the mainsail on the boom when we took it off the mast, so it's still underneath its cover there. Up here in the V-berth, as you can see, like I said, complete disaster. V-berth's way up there, and my bed is actually mostly made up there, but I've got my head sail sitting right here on top. That's a 150% Genoa. I've got a little porta potty head here that is currently unusable. Over on this side we've got some storage that we use. For a 25-foot boat, she actually has quite a bit of storage, and she's decently sized. But turn this around here so you can see me. Oops. As you can see, I have a lot of room right here. Alright, so we started work here. These were the problem. These are the masthead sheaves that the halyards, or the lines that raise and lower the sails, run over. The old halyards that I had were actually cable, and there was rope tied to one end so that you were handling the rope down on the deck, but the cable's what actually went through the top of the mast. So these sheaves were in the top of the mast, and the cable would roll over them, and each sheave had two sets. Hang on just a second, because apparently there was a partially live spider in one of these. Naturally, there was a big old spider nest up in the Masthead Sheaves, so around the masthead. But these sheaves, somebody along the way, there's also an anchor light at the masthead, and it's drilled into the side, which is not normally a problem, except that they used a screw that was way too long to mount it. And you can see on this piece actually goes between the masthead sheaves. So basically, you have four sheaves. Got two on each side like this, and two on the other side like this, and that just kind of separates them, keeps them from moving against each other. So like the foresail will run across one set, and the mainsail will run across the other set. What would happen is, on this you can actually see the screw mark where the screw from that anchor light was pressing, and it had actually pushed this metal piece so it was bent, which was preventing the masthead sheaves from even moving. So the cable has just been rubbing on these sheaves without the sheaves actually rolling like they're supposed to, which is bad for both the cable and the sheaves. So they're pretty much shot now. Otherwise, they are in actually really good condition. They aren't cracking, they aren't disintegrating as I had feared. but I mean that would be a problem if they're not rolling like they're supposed to. I did lose one of the sheaves in the drink, which doesn't matter, I'm throwing them away, but that means that putting the new ones back in will be quite fun. Okay, so to kind of update you, it is now the next day. This is Monday. I've taken a couple of days off to try to work on this project and get as far as I can. I actually had two of my boat neighbors out here working on their boats yesterday, and quite frankly, being a little bit new to this, I'm not quite comfortable with having other people listen to me talk to a camera or have the camera out and around them all the time. So I didn't film much yesterday. Among other things, I discovered that my phone camera has given up the ghost. The phone is working, sort of. So I guess it's time for a new phone overall. No matter what I do, the camera won't work, so I don't even have any still pictures of what I've done so far. But got the mast sheaves changed. That was an interesting experience. So the mast is laying on top of the boat right now. I'll give you a little view of that, in fact, here. Show you what I'm dealing with. I do apologize for that. There was a spider on the camera. Alright, so this is kind of what I'm dealing with at the moment. Little bird sitting on my neighbor's. Oh, let me pull it away. Okay, so this is Leukothea. With her mast down, sitting on top. And this is what I've been dealing with. I didn't have the mast scooted down quite that much when I started the job yesterday, and just about paid for it. We almost lost the sheaves a couple of times into the drink. My boat neighbor here with this blue boat, as you can see just outside my window here, he was nice enough to come help me out a little bit with getting the sheaves changed, and I was very fortunate. I would have lost them all in the lake. I won't say that it was a lack of planning. It was more a lack of availability of anyone to come out here and help me out. I just needed more hands and didn't have them. But we got the sheaves changed out. I actually had to do it twice, which was fine. I had to replace them anyway because we're going to the all-line halyards. Matter of fact, I have those all-line halyards. I have those all-line halyards right here in this box. This box is just absolutely chock full of all the projects I'm doing on the mast. So those are going to be our new halyards. Those are going to be our new halyards. Well, we'll go take a look here at the masthead so you can see what work I've done so far. With the mast down, it's a fun maze to get on and off the boat. Alright. You can see these are the sheaves, and these are much wider than the previous ones because they're for line instead of cable. So I had to get those in there, and this is that little middle piece. The screw had come in right here. You can see I'm rewiring the mast today. But the screw had come in and pushed on this, and it was preventing those sheaves from rolling, and that was our problem, that whole thing. So if you've never seen a masthead, this is Catalina's style, not necessarily the same as all the others out there. But that's Leukothea from the outside. We haven't really gotten a whole lot of good images of her. You can kind of see her. She needs deck paint, but overall not in terrible condition. Obviously I still need a cleaner. This is what happens after a winter sitting here and not cleaning. The rudder's filthy. You can kind of see along the bottom where they're going to have to do some scrubbing. But we'll get there. And our outboard here is absolutely filthy. It was that way when we bought the boat. This is the first time we've had the boat backed in to where we could really do a lot of work on it. So we're getting there. Alright, sorry I haven't gotten a whole lot of video on this. It has been very windy. It was rather windy yesterday. Today's been very windy. I've been struggling to keep things on deck with me, much less dealing with the camera. There's a good gust right there. Since this camera is on a gimbal, you may actually be able to see some of the motion of the boat. I'm not sure. But, you know, that's marina life. We're basically a beam to the wind right now, so it's throwing some stuff. You know, at least we don't have the mast up at the moment, because that really causes it to... The wind gets in the rigging and really shakes us. But anyway, it's been a long day. Just kind of wrapping down for the day. Finally got the mast wiring through. I've still got to wire the anchor light on and the steaming light. Just get those wired in and installed. Those items did not come with screws, naturally, because that would be too simple. And the little step for the anchor light did not come pre-drilled. So it's a thick aluminum piece. It's going to be kind of interesting, but I've got to drill through that aluminum in order to get a screw that isn't too long this time through that step, so that we don't have the same problem again. We'll work on that tomorrow, see if we can get it ready. Did get some other stuff done that I've been meaning to do. Have a winch handle holder that's supposed to have been installed in the cockpit. Bought it a while back. Didn't have screws for it at the time, because apparently nothing that has anything to do with sailboats comes with screws. I don't know what that's about, but okay. Anyway, I'll explain where I got the screws today from, but I happened to realize, hey, I have these screws and they're the perfect size. So we got that installed in the cockpit, which will be really nice. We always know where it is, and it's not just sliding around on the floor when we're not using it. That tends to happen as we heel, as we'll wind up with the handle under our feet, and we can never find it when we really need it. So that's up. Got a flag halyard installed off of our spreaders, which the spreaders to the mast is actually right over my head right now. Here, I'll show you this. This is kind of weird. That's the mast spreaders right there, sitting right over my head. But at least it made the work easy there. I've been meaning to get a flag halyard set up, but I couldn't reach the spreaders. So while it's down, I'll get that done too. Yes, if you looked really carefully, I went the really cheap route, and I may change it tomorrow. I'll see. I just don't have anything to use right now. But I zip tied that little flag halyard block to the spreaders. It'll last for several years at the very least, and then I'll do something else or whatever. It's kind of a test anyway, because I'm not really sure how to rig one of those. We'll work on it. So for the first time, I played with epoxy today. I've never done that before. I took all of the deck hardware out, which is where I got all the screws from. They're all stainless steel screws, and yes, They're probably all close to 40 years old, but they were in great shape because they're stainless, and I guess the seal on it was pretty decent. Didn't appear that the core was at least real wet. I did see a little bit of debris that looked like maybe it had gotten a little wet at some point. That sound is the new flag halyard clamps. They're sitting on top of my cabin, and the wind's blowing them, so they're making clattering sounds. Apologize. Anyway, I got all of the deck hardware off. All of it had to be replaced. The plastic sheaves and all of it were just falling apart. Here, just a second, I can show you that. So like that, you can see is basically that's a half a sheaf in there. It is completely broken, and it just disintegrated on us. And then you gotta look at the deck organizer here. It's pretty well shot as well. And unfortunately, I tried, but you cannot replace these sheets. You have to replace the whole unit, which is stupid, and I wasted quite a bit of money on new sheaves that don't fit, don't work. So that was kind of ridiculous, but it is what it is. So that's where we're at. Oh, this is the step I was talking about. The anchor light sits on top of this. This goes onto the masthead, so that sits at the top, and this is off to the side. This is specifically cut out to fit the Catalina masthead, and then let the wire run down. So it just sits up there on top. But as you can see, the hole should be about here for the screw to go in to hold that in, and it's not there. And it's just an aluminum pipe with no hole in it. But really, guys, but I guess they want you to be able to put it wherever. I also got this plate, and I did not do this today. This plate is going to go under my mast step. So it's going to go on my deck, and the mast step will actually sit on top of it, and I guess you would call that the tabernacle in this case. My mast has a pin that goes through it, so it's on a hinge. So that's going to sit on top of this, screw it all down, and then these little holes here on the side, they're kind of raised. You attach your turning blocks to these, so I can have 8 turning blocks on this particular unit without having to drill into my deck, which is why I just took all the deck hardware off and filled all the holes. So I did epoxy those holes. They should hopefully be at least mostly set up by tomorrow. We do have a lot of rain in the forecast starting Thursday going through the weekend, and the weather cools down again for a little bit, so I may not be able to get out here for a weekend or two. 2 weekends from now, so not this next weekend, but the next is the club's next race, so I'm going to be working on that. Obviously the boat's not going to be ready for me. I say it's a race, it's a practice race. This boat won't be ready for me to take out on the race course, so I will probably still be helping with the race committee boat and get all that done, which I guess as the race commodore I should be working with that, but you know, I volunteered to organize this stuff. That doesn't necessarily mean I want to miss out on all the racing. And I volunteered because they asked me. Because nobody else would do it. So that's the way it is. Obviously, like I said, please forgive the appearance of the boat right now. It's definitely in boat work mode. It's going to get worse before it gets better. As soon as we can, we're going to start doing our spring cleaning on it. So once the mast goes back up and we can clear everything out and get to stuff, We'll start cleaning as well. That'll, you know, we'll change modes, but it won't be very clean for long. So it'll all get there. Hope you've enjoyed so far. Day number 512. It's day 3 of boat work, and I have to say I'm a little bit exhausted. I got here about an hour ago now, I guess. A friend of mine here at the club, George, is helping me out today. He's an absolute genius when it comes to doing anything on a boat. It's kind of the guy that everybody goes and asks for advice from. So having him here today means that I feel confident I'll get through a lot of this. I had to go get his other vehicle because I didn't have everything I need. The screws that I removed from the lights were not machine screws, and George feels like we would do much better if we had machine screws. And we need a tap set because we need to drill holes. I didn't even think about it. I've never drilled into metal. So he's going to get some tools for us to use. And he's pretty sure he has some screws too. So I can make another run to the store. I already stopped at the hardware store this morning. But we're getting there. I've got the steaming light wired up. I just got to get it screwed into the mast. And it'll be ready to go. We're working on getting ready for the anchor light on the masthead. One of the reasons that we needed the taps is he's going to have to drill through that little aluminum step that I showed you. I'm not really sure what it takes to drill through that. It is aluminum, but I've never drilled through aluminum that thick. Honestly, I really haven't drilled through aluminum. I'm out of my element, and it's all a learning experience, but we're doing it. We're getting closer. I just have a few projects left after these lights. I'm trying to find the spreader boots that I bought. I know I have them somewhere, but I can't find them anywhere. I know I've got them. Just gotta locate them. Need to put new spreader boots on the spreaders. I've still got to install my lazy jacks, which are here, and my head cell furler. This is the replacement part. The top of this on the old one is completely broken off, and there's just some shards sticking out, that's bad for the line that's wrapped around it. Line wraps around this, and you use that to control the furler and make it roll up the sail or let it roll the sail out. And I've got to change this out. Looks like it's a fairly easy process here. Just Allen wrenches. There's 4 bolts in here. The thing comes apart in half and goes back together, so I don't have to take a whole lot of stuff apart, at least, which is good. I don't really want to have to do that. So there we are. We're getting closer. One step at a time.